Hi guys, I'm Darryl. I'm the founder of Break the Limits. We help advisors to break their limits so they can make more impact and income. For the last few years, we've been helping advisors to achieve their first MDRT, multiple MDRTs, or even COT as well. My firm belief is that when you win your inner game, that's where you have massive success in life. That's exactly the reason why I'm interviewing high-performing advisors to understand their inner game, the inner world, understand the challenges so that I can inspire you to get your unique breakthrough as well. With that being said, let's get started with today's episode. Today I'm here with a very special guest, Jeffrey Tan. He's the founder of High Life and he's also a financial services director. Without further ado, probably you want to introduce yourself to the audience here.
Hi guys. Thanks so much, Darryl, for inviting me. Count it a privilege. My name is Jeffrey Tan and I've been in this industry for 35 years. I joined us since 1989 and currently running very exclusive financial planning services for our clients who just want us to represent them for every areas in terms of their work, in terms of their personal life, and as well as their legal stuff, their financial matters, and all that. So I'm very privileged to have met Darryl, and very privileged to be able to share and maybe invite you to glean upon my 35 years of experience in this industry. Hope that all my pains is your gain today.
Lovely. And I just want to give the audience some context, like how did we meet, and then like also the objective of this podcast as well. So we met through a mutual friend. Okay, one of our coaches actually is a good friend of Jeff. And then she introduced me to Jeff because we both share the same philosophies, like in terms of serving financial advisors, helping people to serve, not sell, and all of these things. We believe in the idea of abundance. I think the good news is that both of us are very visionary people, futuristic. We think and we care for people. And that's why I was intrigued by him after the first conversation. And in fact, now we're working very closely, helping with his team as well. So when I was interviewing Jeff very, subconsciously, when I was having meals with him, right, I realized that, wow, 35 years ago, whatever happened in the industry is pretty much quite different from today's scene.
Yeah.
Like later I'll ask him some questions so that you can get a glimpse of it as well, which I was very intrigued. I said, hey, you know what, Jeff, you should be on this podcast. There's a lot of wisdom in his own personal sales aspect of things and also the leadership aspect of things as well. How was his journey the entire 35 years? I think for you, the audience, you're in for a treat. Without further ado, let me start off with this one question first. So Jeff, I understand you as a very spiritual service-based person. And you mentioned to me at the start when you're younger, when young man, you said that you want to join the mission work because, that's something that you're called for. What got you started in this industry to begin with then?
I remember myself on my last few months in national service.
Right.
I was actually assigned to man a medical post in Brunei. So in Brunei, manning medical posts, you got lots of time. And so, someone gave me a cassette. It's a music cassette. So I was playing with it on my then Walkman. Walkman was a big thing then.
Right.
And then somehow or other, I was so inspired by the song and the content. I couldn't believe myself, but I was so inspired that I found myself having walked away from the tentage to a place where I'm just alone. And I just got on my knees and I said, Lord, if you can do something with my life, it's not much, but if it means something, if I can make a difference, and use me. So that was my posture since then. So when I came back, I have this awareness of the spiritual aspects of me. And, I wanted intentionally to see where I should go. With the little knowledge that I have, about life and about things, I kind of like struggled through a little bit. I find myself in a Christian bookstore, and that has been a place of blessing where it actually taught me. I've got mentors over there, and basically they taught me how to engage, God and the spirituality that I have within me. And that kind of gave me a certain foundation in the person that I've become. And since then, I left, after 4 years, I left that place, and coming into the financial industry. Back then was insurance agent. My time in 1989 when I first joined, not much difference compared to second-hand car salesman. I mean, no offense, to our friends who are in the second-hand car sales or vacuum cleaner, door-to-door, that kind of thing. Because it was a cowboy town. Yeah, everything was very unregulated. You literally, just to give you a sense of how it felt like, these days when in an industry we are required to show our clients the illustrations and all those things.
Yes.
The financial projections. My time, you can type it out on a typewriter, on a piece of paper, and use that as the foundation and the basis of your recommendation. So that was how bad things were at that point in time. And when MAS started to come in to regulate, of course, in the industry-wise, there's a lot of reaction. People don't like their lifestyle being affected by all these policies imposed by the government. So very emotional. There were rallying, coming together, talking about, we don't agree and all that kind of thing. But 30 years later, looking back, it was the right thing to do. It was the right thing to do. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm privileged to be able to see both sides. What it was, when it happened, what happened, and then finally where we are today.
Right.
Yeah. So it was an amazing journey for me.
For sure. And you're sharing, just now you mentioned that there's a bookstore.
Yeah.
So that was your first job.
Yes.
And what led to the transition to this industry?
We were moving into a space where, I was feeling a little bit of dissatisfaction within me already by then. And, it was just hard for me to continue when my clarity wasn't there. So I decided that that's an important time to take a break from where I was so that I have clarity, So during that journey, my ex-boss was very nice. We had a good relationship. He recommended me to join an insurance company, highly, in fact. So I took his advice and I went over, and the rest is history.
Yeah. And share with us, right? Knowing that there was a cowboy town happening and everything was chaotic, you are very service-oriented, you care for people, you're very giving. How do you survive that period?
Well, I must say it was a journey for me in terms of discovering who I really am. And I think for all of us, it's about the same. You start off with listening to what people tell you. You follow to the best of your abilities what people are telling you, hoping that everything that they tell you is correct. And then you learn along the way, some things are not consistent, with what is really good for others. And then you learn along the way how much you can stomach those things. Many advisors would probably understand that you just mouth up all your scripts and just say everything that people taught you to say. With or without conviction, that's another thing altogether.
Exactly.
So I'm actually quite good at that. I was actually quite good at selling. I joined the industry in '89, as I've said. I made it to top rookie immediately, because I was very passionate. I was thinking to myself, I says, wow, I can't believe that this thing that I'm doing, this product that I'm selling is actually this good. So could you imagine that transition that I make from that spiritual sense of wanting to seek out my spiritual destiny to that transition? It was quite an abrupt transition, I must say. But I was blessed in that sense that in this journey, I found a deeper truth. Sometimes when you learn to come to a place where, I personally feel that I abandoned myself.
That transition?
Yes.
Right.
I abandoned myself and, I begin to embrace life. It takes risks, right? Because you are letting go of what's familiar and you're stepping into a realm where you're totally unfamiliar. And in that realm where you are so-called free-flowing, then you find yourself again.
Right.
So that was my journey. It was quite hilarious at some points.
Yeah. Which I want to ask you to elaborate as well. When you mentioned you abandoned yourself, would you say that, to clarify for the audience to understand, right? You abandoned the older self, old self, and then you embrace the newer self. Whereby in the past you probably clinging on to comfort. And then you realize that actually I'm really good at selling. That's my strength. That's my gift. And that's where you step into the newer self.
I think for me in the past, I was groomed with a certain direction to eventually hit some kind of a spiritual work. Maybe like example, starting a church and all that. So it was my it was the life I was living forward towards.
Yes.
And then to have that suddenly change overnight, that
Right,
was
like top sales and everything.
yeah, that was quite abrupt.
Right.
From a pastor to a salesperson, that was something that I was trying to grapple with.
Right. And how do you deal with that transition actually?
Well, I think when I begin to learn more about my purpose, my destiny, I realized that difficulties that we go through is actually part of our destiny.
For sure.
Yeah, it is part of the journey that we have been prepared, just as a preparation to bring us into something bigger. So I mean, the mature me right now, it will say to the younger me that just be patient. You're in a journey. You're not trying to finish a race. You're in a journey, and it helps a lot when you are chill and relaxed and be patient with yourself and kind of still the voice of fear in your head and just get to know people because people are the greatest assets and relationships. Like, my relationship with you.
For sure.
Such a good find for me.
I'm blessed as well.
Yeah.
So share with us, right, when you were in the top sales, the top rookie, how were you as a young man, dealing with the kind of recognition, achievement, that kind of pride? Were there a period whereby you lost a sense of your original self, the self of the service-based self? Share with us as well. I'm curious to find out.
Yeah, I remember I was the top sales because in the company, I was known to be the one who is a one-time closer. One-time closer means that you see your client for the first time and you walk away with the close. I had that reputation in the company. And I read books about the art of hard selling. So I kind of learned and I tried, right? Because you're young, you know that you don't know a lot.
Yep.
And so you give yourself to men of wisdom, people of that can give you good advice, and you just run with it, without questioning, So I was top sales and I was closing sales, but I was very unhappy. I didn't know why. And this came to me quite abruptly when one day I was standing in the lift. I was waiting at the lift, and I have a senior person who was waiting at the same time now for the same lift. And he says, "Jeff, are you okay?" I said, "Oh yeah. Why should I not be okay?" He says, "You look troubled." I said, "Oh, do I?" I was a little bit embarrassed, right? I mean, I don't want people to think I'm trouble, even though sometimes I am, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, but I says, "Oh," then I was trying to be discreet, but this brother was nice, He was quite in the face, He said, and sometimes people who are in the face actually are a blessing, right? So he said, "Are you embarrassed about what you're doing?" He said. I said, "What makes you think that way?" Anyway, long story short, I thought about his questions, and finally I agree. I was actually embarrassed.
Because of?
Because I have not made that transition away from my spiritual destiny yet. Like I was supposed to out there help the poor, reach out to people, and give them the good news, right? Now I'm selling insurance. So that was a transition that I have not really fully accepted within me yet. So I realized that, wow, if I really want to live and enjoy this life, I need to get past this. I cannot stay here and be double-minded about things.
Yep.
Want to pursue this, and yet when you achieve this, you end up empty and unhappy. So that was my journey.
Yeah, and I remember you sharing me prior to this podcast, you're saying that you always tell a manager. What do you say to a manager?
Yeah. I remember when I first came in, joining the business, we are supposed to fill up a form, say how much you have in your bank and all that. I remember I was a little bit embarrassed. I only had $100 in my bank account. So he says, "It's okay. We all start somewhere," and all that kind of thing. So I also know that I'm not the A profile type of an advisor, So, he kind of ignored me, or not ignore, but he kind of neglected me quite a bit. So I remember when I was closing the deal, I was on this streak of closing. I would call him. I says, "Oh, hi, I managed to close a deal tonight. He said, "Oh yeah, that was great," and I could hear all the party music behind him. So second night I did the same thing. The third night I did the same thing. The fourth night I did the same thing. The fifth night I got his attention. Yeah. So that was where he started to come to me, and but that was how the industry was back then, lah.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying anything bad about anyone, but that was exactly how the industry was. People were doing massive recruitment. Come join. And you make it, you don't make it, then just too bad.
Yep.
Kind, So that was the kind of environment that I came out from.
Yeah, and he was always asking you, will you stay long? What will you say?
Yeah. So I always, so when I started to go into that relationship where he valued me as one of his assets, so to speak, I always told him, I says, just that you know that my journey may not be this, this could be a transition. And if there's any moment that I need to go to do pursue my spiritual side of things, I will do it. And he said, yeah, sure. That's why this business is great. He says, you can do all those things.
Right.
Yeah.
And how did you, so for the audience to understand the summary so far, right, is that you were a top rookie, you're selling, you're getting attention from manager, but deep down, you feel there's this misalignment. Like, this is not my original me. No doubt you experience a new side of you. You're like surprised by this as well.
Yeah.
But you don't feel that sense of purpose or fulfillment.
Yeah.
How do you go about overcoming that then?
I think the whole journey started when I attended a particular talk. And I remember being a junior, or anyone who goes on stage, you will esteem them as man of experience, man of wisdom, right? So I remember hearing from this local guy from a local insurance company, and he said that he only meets his clients in his office. I said, wow, that's a big one. Why would people take the trouble, travel all the way? Because my time was McDonald's lah, my time was Pizza Hut lah, all those fast joints where you meet your clients at their convenience, right?
Right.
So he was sharing about, he only meet his clients in his office. I was thinking, oh, wow, that's interesting. And then he says that, and I don't work on weekends. I said, wow. I said, weekends were my peak period. Like, when we meet all our clients during weekends, right?
Yeah.
And he says, he doesn't work on weekends. I said, whoa, this is strange. And then he says this, the final one was this. He said, I only work during office hours. I said, what? You mean your client had to apply leave to come and see you?
Yeah.
I said, what is going on? Like, is this real now?
Yeah.
I really thought that this guy is just smoking everybody, right? And he was he was doing very well. And I said, man, I couldn't imagine what in the world is happening to him and his clients, that people will do things like that for him. That started me with all the questions.
Such as?
Like, why would people do that? Why would clients want to take time, apply leave, take all the trouble, travel all the way to his office for him to sell insurance to them? It is so strange. I've never heard of this. And I kind of, suspected that I'll smoke sometimes, and so that got me into this journey of discovering about what value is.
Right.
And I learned that when value is felt, price is nothing.
I love that.
Yeah. I learned that when value is felt, you can literally, lead them into anything, when people want to get what they want and they know that you can help them get it, they will follow you. Yes.
And share with us, what do you discover in that journey of discovery, right? What do you discover?
Well, first thing first, I must say it was a lot to take in. I didn't take in everything all together because I'm still busy trying to achieve all my objectives year end. And after a certain progression in life, especially in this industry, it's very natural that if you're doing well, they will want to offer you a role into management.
Yep.
Yeah, then that's why you'll be busy doing recruitment and all that. So I was thrown into that space. Again, there is no template to follow. Everyone have to figure out on their own. They just basically want you to, you just multiply yourself.
True.
Just multiply yourself. And that was the journey that I took. But I wasn't 100% very comfortable. Remember, this senior colleague saw me.
Yes.
I was having this 挣扎, that kind of
this
struggle.
Misalignment.
Misalignment and all that. So I wasn't very happy with the way I was presenting to my clients in terms of hard selling. I wasn't. So I didn't know what to do. So whatever that they gave me back then was some training program. And so I decided to just follow. At least I got some training kit I can show, which is impressive.
Yep.
Because if I were to depend on my own, I don't have those things. And I don't have the time to kind of curate a whole set of training materials on my own. So I kind of followed. And back then, this was in 1989, we were taught estate planning, which was by then, at that point in time, was quite rare because nobody talks about estate planning. Why? Because estate planning requires you to deep dive with your clients, where clients will have to divulge personal information and all that. And nobody want to tell you how much they have in the bank. Why would they want to do that?
True.
And especially when you know they're selling insurance, you're an insurance agent, why you want to know all these personal things for what?
Right.
So that was the only thing I have at that point in time. There was a struggle because I remember when I was doing my first presentation to a good friend of mine. And this friend of mine is the richest friend I had at that point in time. So I sat down with him, and he was an engineer, and I went through his planning. So when it came to the part on his personal information, how much he has in the bank, he took my presentation kit and he looked at it. He stared at it for a while. He says, "Actually, Jeff, I really don't want to go through this." And so I was not prepared for that moment. I didn't know what to say. Of course, he's a friend, and I didn't want to impose, right? So being the, trying to make the best out of the situation, I said, well, in that case, then it's okay lah.
Yeah.
So we ended there. I came back, I was feeling very discouraged. And I was just thinking to myself, I says, all this training, all this memorizing, all this knowledge and everything, and yet, this is what I got.
Yep.
So what I did was I took the kit, I threw it into the rubbish bin.
For real.
I threw it in.
Yeah.
I said, this is a total waste of my time. And not only that, it puts us in a very awkward position with our clients.
Yep.
I do not know how to handle if halfway through they say I'm not comfortable. So I stopped doing that. That's where I went into just the product, the sales, the salesy part of things.
Understand.
But when I became a manager,
Yep.
I thought to myself, I said, maybe I should revisit. So I reopened the file because it was a very presentable file. Looks nice, ma.
Yeah.
So when you do recruitment, you try
Show
to...
that.
Yeah, you want to show your best foot lah.
Yeah.
Right now. Then I remember I had to do joint field work. So I went out for joint field work with my new recruit. And then I closed. I was shocked. And then maybe it's just pure luck at that point in time. I went for the second place with a joint field work thing, and I closed because those days we were supposed to do three joint field work. It's a requirement. On the third one, I brought back, back then was a big thing, an annual premium of 28,000. You're talking about the 1990, 91, 92 period. That was a big premium, I closed, I came back, I was totally confused. I said to myself, what happened? Like, how come when I started this, when I was doing this on my own, I was struggling like nobody's business. And here I am, I'm supposed to be happy because we closed.
Yeah.
But but when you don't know why you close, that's why you struggle, right?
Yeah.
So I was struggling. I was thinking, why did this happen? I have no idea what happened. And that got me into a journey as well. And I discovered something.
What did you discover?
I discovered that the tools that I was using on estate planning was not designed as a selling tool. And so you realize that, on hindsight, this is what I've learned. There are a lot of tools out in the marketplace. And some tools are designed to sell. Some tools are not designed to sell. They are designed to plan, to help the client understand the overall picture so that they can make better financial decisions. So when you encounter those kind of tools that was meant to help clients understand their needs in a very personal way. And here you are trying to sell it. You know, it's mismatched. The tool, the spirit of the tool, and the person, the spirit of the person
The
cannot
intentions.
jive. Cannot jive. Incongruent.
Yep.
And so, you know, you very very
Misaligned as well.
yeah, and then client can feel it.
Right.
After a while, they feel uncomfortable.
Right.
Yeah. But when I was
Doing the
doing the
joint
joint
field
field work, I was not putting on a sales. I was trying to show how this tool
works.
And without me realizing, accidentally, I was actually adopting a serving posture.
Right. And the essence came out. Or the essence of the estate planning came out.
Yeah. And the person that I am, who I am,
Yeah.
where people feel comfortable, where
They trust you.
I'm most, yes. And people trust me because they feel that what you see is what you get.
Pause right there. This is
Yes.
something very powerful. I think what Jeff has said, right? He said a lot, right? Is a huge summary of how he became someone who serve, not sell.
Yes.
Right? And his origin story was that I'm young, I really do not know anything.
Yeah.
That's what the cowboy town industry taught me.
Yeah.
You give me things, I just sell, I just follow instructions. But then you felt empty.
Yes.
And only after you had your recruit, that's when you lead by example,
Yeah.
a proper example,
Yes.
right? And the exposure to asset planning made you realize that, okay, cool, let me just role play and do what they taught me to do.
Yeah.
And that's where you experience the beauty. Like, wow, without me selling, I just really, really care for them.
Yes.
Hey, they trust me, they work with me and put this kind of money with me.
Yes.
And that's your first taste of serve, not sell.
That's right.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And share with us a little bit more as well. What happened after?
Well, again, it's not an immediate overnight transition, right? Because we are in an industry that throws incentives, that recognize top, and all that.
Yep.
And, I spent the next few years of my life in that transition, like moments where I would go into the serving mode, but then there are moments I move into the selling mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the way that I think, in the way that I run my agency. Yeah, and I think, in my opinion, that's worse. That's
share
worse.
with us why.
Because you are neither here nor there.
Yeah.
If you are serving, you should serve all the way. If you're selling, you should sell all the way. And I think speaking to you about what I know about our audience,
Yes.
and the people in our industry, this is where a lot of people are stuck. They are in this in-between state where they know that they don't want to go into the full-fledged salesy kind of a thing, but yet they are also not in the full-fledged serving platform. So the struggle is the in-between, the lukewarmness, and you can never be happy once you're in that state, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because you know that there is something more that you can offer to the client, something legitimate, something that speaks about the true value of the work that we are doing.
Yep.
But you're not able to express it.
So elaborate. If I can elaborate to the audience listening to this, right?
Yeah.
Jeff shared with me multiple times whereby his own past experience makes him feel limited, whereby the environment around him shapes him to want to keep selling to achieve targets and then get the recognition. But subconsciously, his inner self really stands strongly for the serving.
Yeah.
Right? That's one of the reasons why you started High Life.
Yes.
I remember you shared with me.
Yeah.
So the audience that I coach as well, majority of them who are not doing well, they're mediocre, they're stagnant, actually struggle the same stuff as well. That is exactly why I decided to interview you.
Wow.
And I want to extract that element, like how did you get out of that? Right? I want you to do your very best, of course, share with them the behind the scenes.
Sure.
What mindset shift did you have to go through in order for you to proudly and stand strong, say, I want to go 100% serving? How do you do that?
Wow, I think that's a loaded question. I must say.
For sure.
because there's a lot of fear learning about new things and letting it go. Because part of embracing a different posture means you have to let go of all the things that you've been familiar with.
Of course.
Yeah, and I think for a person as an individual to do it on their own, it takes a lot because there are not many people who are prepared to do that. And many of us who are in that journey obviously requires coaching.
Yep.
That's what the coach does, right?
Correct.
To show them a possibility that they've never seen about themselves, right? And I must say, throughout this journey, I have many, mainly from our team, I see our people coming in, with such a heart of, like, such a good person, but struggling in this business, right? And the same struggle we all face.
Yes.
Like, I don't want to be seen I'm pushing a sale. I don't want to be too salesy. I mean, these are my friends.
Correct.
I don't want them to think that I'm trying to benefit from our relationship and take advantage of them and all those noises. And you're the expert. But I tell you honestly, Darryl, this is where I really appreciate your work a lot, because you give them the expression, the narratives. When you have the narratives, you have the power.
For sure.
But when you don't have the narratives, you're struggling with the feelings, the inner conflicts, but you don't know how to say it. That is the most troubling part of the journey. But when someone gives you the narrative, you says, yeah, that's it. That's why. Now I know. Wow, I tell you.
They feel liberated.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I feel like your programs empowers people to do that. In fact, to be very honest, even the selling and serving posture came from you. It does. It really. For me.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I must say, even after 30 years of doing the work that we do, I mean, we don't have everything 100% all together, because it's a learning journey and it's a self-discovery at the same time.
For sure.
Yeah. But when someone comes and call out those things, man, I tell you, it is so liberating, so empowering, for lack of a better word. Suddenly, for the first time, you says, yes, that's me.
Yeah, this person describes what's going on
Yes.
internally in me.
That's me.
And he gives me the solution, right?
Yeah. And I want to hear more from this guy, because I know he has come through this journey, but I'm struggling here. I'm in this stage of where I'm struggling. But if this guy has gone through the same journey, I want to learn from his pain so that I don't go through mine on my own. Yeah. So I really appreciate your training program on how you talk about prospect regularly, post fiercely, and then all the prescribe confidently. Oh man, I tell you, those are life-changing words to someone like me back then, searching, and couldn't find the answer. When those words came like the way it comes through you, man, I tell you, it is so liberating. And I'm not saying this because I'm on your podcast.
Yeah.
I say that to my guys, and I felt it internally as well. And there's really no BS about this. It's either it works or it does not.
Yep.
Right. And for the people who have gone through your program, they have seen the transformation, they've seen the liberation.
Yes.
They will know.
Your guys. I saw the guy's face.
They will know. I want to
elaborate for the audience, because some of them, they're new to me. They don't even know like what are the 5 steps as well. So allow probably the audience to get some insights as well, glimpse if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So the 5 steps that Jeff was referring to, right?
Yeah.
Which I think can give a big shift from for you to serve, not sell. Because whatever Jeff experienced was 35 years of hard knocks and pain.
Yeah.
I was studying a lot of mediocre advisors, and that's where we had a lot of discussion, right? How come some of them in the wrong environment were forced to sell? And they get demoralized and everything. And I came to this conclusion of these 5 steps. I mean, the first one is they prospect irregularly. Only when they feel like it, they do. Number 2 is they are secret agents. They are agents, insurance agents, and they're secretly doing it.
Yeah.
So that's why they're shy, don't want to tell their friends they're doing it.
Yeah.
And obviously, the business will be not thriving. They'll be just probably surviving.
Yeah.
And then number 3 is that they sell transactionally, like what you mentioned. They just want to hit a KPI.
Yes.
And then number 4, they close weekly.
Yes.
WEAK, weak. Like low posture. People say, let me think about it. They say, okay, no worries about it. Sometimes they say cannot close 2K, close 300 a month. They want to close something, at least something.
Yeah.
Not in the best interest for clients. And last but not least, they vanish immediately.
Yeah.
Right after they close, they're busy with new prospects. And if any advisor listening to this, you commit one of these 5, it's really a huge soul searching that you need to do. Probably the wrong methodology taught by different agencies, or maybe you yourself have a wrong intention, like what Jeff mentioned. But on the flip side, when I share the new narrative, which I spent 4 years building,
Yes.
the guys, like Jeff guys as well, they had a new light. They're like, oh, these kind of make me feel more convicted, congruent. I need to do that instead.
Yes.
The very first one was what? Prospect regularly. Very important. You need to prospect consistently, regularly. Number 2 is what? Post fearlessly. And you don't post to get the appointment. You post to change people's impression.
Yeah.
When you're younger, you're probably a class clown, class bully, and all of these things affects you. People will not trust you at the AUM if you're a class clown or wallflower in school. And then the third thing is like what Jeff mentioned many times, serve religiously. Like how do you serve? Not just policy summary and just help with, go beyond. If someone is struggling in terms of shopping habits, addictions, gambling, can you value add them, change their financial mindset to start with, serve them? And number 4 is prescribe confidently. When it is something that you feel this person should do, prescribe. You do, don't do, I will move on like a doctor. But if you choose not to, I respect that, I'll still help you. And number 5 is journey responsibly. And this is one thing that I learned from the COT as well. My duty doesn't end when you sign the policy. My duty only ends when I get you to your financial goals of 5 million, 10 million.
Yeah.
That makes you very convicted and congruent throughout. Of course, these short 5 minutes of me elaborating will not be, doing the service, right? It's in fact a disservice if I never elaborate. So I'm glad that you give me this chance to share with this audience, right? These 5 things that will help them change the narrative, which will truly change the way they run their business.
Yes.
Which I think you went through the hard knock, 35 years of trying to figure out what's your own narrative,
That's right.
So share with us, right? After you discover this narrative, after you live out this estate planning posture, and you manage to serve, not sell, obviously way more congruent, what was the next milestone for you in your career? Was it instantly leadership, and what was your career like?
I start realizing that if to provide true value to our clients, just focusing on one aspect of the work that we are doing, which is financial planning, is not going to cut it. There was my time where I started to build my ecosystem of professionals. I realized previously when I was doing estate planning, I would do the financial planning, and then I will point them to a lawyer to separately seek out that piece of work independently from the financial planning aspects of things. And then where I realized over the years, this is where the incongruency starts to appear, where you start meeting different different advisors, and then you are actually building your entire portfolio based on piecemeal basis.
What do you mean?
Piecemeal. So for example, if you want to build your estate plans, you probably go and see a lawyer first, and thought that you probably get to do your will first. And then later on, you go and see a financial advisor to do his financial aspects and all that, right? So generally, many of these things are happening in our industry as well, very independently. So the basic question right now is this: is writing a will a solution to solve all situations? Of course, no. The answer is no. Is financial planning the go-to thing to solve all problems? Of course, no. But how do you marry the two together if the two person who is giving the advice is working in silo? They are working independently. And this is where, when we started to look at the work that we are doing in a deeper way, I always say that don't go broad. Because most of our guys will say, hey, but you talk about estate planning and you talk about financial planning or retirement planning. Everybody is saying that. I say, yeah, but it depends on how deep you go. Right? You can talk about the same thing, but if you go depth, where most don't go, that's where you provide true value. Yeah. So this is where we realize that when we saw the work and the issues that individual had to contend with, if anything happens to them, they really don't have a go-to person to ask for an advice that can give them a holistic view of their portfolio, because they're all done separately. Yeah. So that was when I decided that, look, if we are going to help our clients, I cannot just hold on to an FA license and try to tell them to buy something from me to solve their problem, or point them to a lawyer independently. I need to be that go-to person, understand their problems, and tell the lawyers what to do, tell the trust companies what to do, and tell whoever that needed, like for example, they may be wanting to build an LPA, for example, lasting power of attorney, for the benefit of our audience, how to plan it around so that it is congruent with the very thing that they want to see happen. So in my recent journey, we kind of crafted some talks related to LPA, and in my discovery, I realized that in the newspaper there are many cases of people going to court related to LPA matters, where there was misappropriation. There were problems of the donees misunderstanding the intentions and not able to carry out as intended. So all these things came out in newspaper.
Yep.
It's not nice. And the worst thing is that if you're in that situation, there's nothing you can do about it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I realized that, basically because they either just go to a lawyer, get to write their LPA, that way without any reference to their financial capabilities and whatever that they have in their resources. And let's be very frank, it's not the lawyer's fault, because that's not their focus.
True.
And you're going to see a financial advisor, he's not going to focus on the legal aspects of things because that's not his training, right? So everybody is working independently.
Yep.
How to produce something that is congruent when two person is looking at things from a different perspective.
Right. So that was the problem you discovered. As a result of that, you spend the next few years of your life creating a solution to gel things with an ecosystem.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So if I may clarify to the audience to listen, right?
Yep.
What you're saying is that in a proper will writing, or probably not let's just don't use will writing and big words like that. You just say in a layman's life. In my life, before I die, probably I need all these different aspects. Estate planning, will writing, financial planning. But what you're saying is that nobody gel everything together.
Yeah.
Which is why somehow there's certain mess that happens.
Yeah.
For example, the legal elements of things.
Yeah.
But when you discover this whole aspect to things, that's where you realize that you're solving a bigger problem.
Yes.
Understand? And you also mentioned that estate planning is just one aspect of it. There's also the legality.
Yeah.
There's also will writing and many other things.
Yes.
Share with us, right? What do you think is the biggest challenge? Knowing that there's this new way of doing things now, what is holding you back from normalizing this in the industry then?
Okay.
What's the biggest challenge?
My biggest challenge is being able to convey that, to tell people exactly what we are offering, so that people don't think that we are hiding behind something just to sell more life insurance policies or financial products. Yeah. And so for the longest time, we were struggling in this space. So for example, people ask me, what do you do? And I would say, we specialize in estate planning, and we also do other aspects of financial planning and stuff. We also have a platform to do will writing and all that, and then they would say, okay, just like my financial advisors, they do the same thing. And then after that, they refer me to their lawyers. And then I'm stuck, right? Because it's more than that, right?
Yep.
This was a model that we described ourselves years ago.
Yep.
We were having a lot of difficulty trying to convey that so that it becomes a value that can be felt.
Understand.
From the client's point of view, or whoever is listening to this.
Allow me to probably dig in deeper on the problems first.
Yeah.
We still have, even my generation, right?
Yeah.
Whereby a consumer have 3-4 advisors even.
Yeah.
Right? Hospital plan I buy from this person.
Yeah.
Investment I buy from the other person.
Yeah.
Term critical illness, different people.
Yeah.
And what you're telling me is that this is a problem because now no one person understands the holistic perspective of my financial planning.
Yeah.
And this person plan in accordance to what he see about it.
Yes.
The other lady plans a different approach.
Yeah.
And this will make me feel confused as well as a consumer.
Yeah.
And what high life approach the ecosystem is trying to solve that one thing, congruence.
Yes.
So that at least me or a separate entity understands the whole picture. Even if this advisor is gone, another person can take over. Is that what you're trying to conquer? Or
yes, absolutely. You see, many of us are inundated by voice noises in our heads. Right. And someone is saying, this is good advice, this is good advice, this is good advice. And we are all easily distracted by the good ideas in life. We are all distracted. If the idea is no good, there is absolutely no value of distraction at all. But when the idea carries interest and there's some perceived value, then it becomes a potential distraction.
Yep.
And so my point is this: when we are talking about planning holistically, what are we talking about? We are talking about what is it that is most important to the client, should the worst happens. What is the most important? And then if that client could be able to articulate that clearly, then how then do we help him build this consistently?
Yep.
But first, we need to understand what are his hopes, goals, and dreams, right?
True.
Yeah. So those are the narratives that we carry moving forward. That it is so important that we are custodians of our clients' hopes, goals, and their dreams.
Yep.
If I know all these things, then I'll tell the lawyers what to do. I'll tell the trust company what to do. I will know that some of these ideas will work and why some ideas cannot work in this situation. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, because the one with the bigger clarity, with all the clarity, will understand better.
Agree.
I love to express this in this story. It's last time they have this Three Little Pig story. Simple stories to illustrate.
Is it the story of elephant?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Can I elaborate?
Go ahead.
Yeah. So we've been struggling with narratives, right? How to tell people so that people understand the true value of the work that we are doing without thinking that you're trying to push a product or trying to sell them something, right? So I remember I was taking a break and, to me, one of the most important things is narratives, our story, right? How do you convey your story in the most effective way and yet making the necessary impact that you want to leave it, right? So I remember the story of this ancient Indian fable. And it's a story of this 5 blind men there's arguing, how an elephant should look like. And then one day there was an elephant that crossed by, and all 5 decided to just pitch in and say what they think an elephant should look like. So can you imagine? One guy was holding the trunk, the other one was feeling the tail, the other one was feeling the tusk, the other one was feeling the body. Yeah. One says, "Oh, the elephant feels like a tree." Because it's feeling the leg, right?
Yeah.
The leg. And then the other one says it feels like a snake because it's feeling the trunk. The one feels the stomach. One says, "Wow, it feels like a big wall." And they were arguing, right? So I think the punchline is this: none of them was wrong. They were not wrong individually, but together, holistically, they were wrong.
I get it.
Right?
Yep.
But they were not right either, right? Yeah. So when someone comes in and go by the big picture first, then they are able to narrow down the exact pieces and how eventually all those pieces will then fit together. This is what we specialized in.
Yeah. Guys, if you can sense his passion and enthusiasm, it's an obsession right there.
Yeah.
So I share you the real essence of why I like this conversation with him so much, right? Is because I focus a lot on the psychology of like what a good financial advisor is supposed to do.
Yeah.
He focused on the contextual, the actual practice of what a good advisor should do.
Yes.
And that's why like he's the technical guy, I'm the psychological, the head guy. Yeah, if you can sense his enthusiasm, I'm just listening with so much respect, Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
Based on what I'm hearing from you so far, right? Would you say that, which we lead to the next conversation about leadership already?
Yeah.
Would you say that you imparting this mindset on probably this entire concept to advisors in your team or outside of your team, right, would be a struggle then? Conveying this concept to financial advisors just in general, would there be a struggle? Because they are very new to this. Most advisors are not taught that.
I think for me, it was a struggle before I found the narratives. Once I find the narratives, it is a lot easier. And it makes it a lot easier when our guys are actually running with it. I'm really blessed with a team of people who actually believe in what I tell them. And they actually run with it. So for me to see people who, in any agency, you have people who come from different teams or from a different company, but if I were to put a finger exactly on a group of people who have benefited, that I noticed in a very tangible way, this narrative that I've been talking about, are the groups of people who at one point in time was doing well, but then halfway through they lost that passion. And now they're just floating. Because why? Because there's renewal coming in. right? And they are not 100% sure exactly what they want, but they know what they don't want.
Yep.
And so they are someone who are currently right now probably in a state where they are in this limbo. They are not motivated by the incentives. They are not motivated by the trips. But deep down, of course, they want.
Good to have.
Yeah, but it's okay lah. I don't have also okay lah. It doesn't mean that I'll be very much happier if I got it. So they're always in that struggle. They're in that limbo. They know they can do better. So they find distractions to keep them busy. Maybe they do some charitable work outside and all that, But in terms of work, they can't say it is
purposeful or passionate.
Feeding them their innermost being, like making them feel proud of what I'm doing, They are not, and these are the group of people who, when they came and they discover this work that we are doing, and then they start to align to their heart in terms of a serving posture. Wow, you see the transformation.
Share with us some of the transformations.
Well, very easy. I got 3 individuals who came. They were struggling. One of them already almost like 10 over years in the business. But if they're honest, they say that their passion has dropped.
Yep.
Like now, their client called them and say, "Hey, my sister wants to buy a policy and all that," and then this person will feel, "Oh, okay," like not excited anymore, lah. Okay lah. Just like it's just part of the job and just do it and all that. But there's no passion. So I had 3 guys who were exactly in that situation. Exactly. I mean, I could name them. I can point them out. And they were exactly in that spot. But last few years, they've been doing roundtable. Suddenly, it connects. Now, I'm not saying, oh, you come join me, you make roundtable. What I can say is that you are connected with your purpose again. You have found it one time, you've lost it, but maybe now you need to find it again. And those 3 persons have now found it, and now they are motivated. This year, their goals are even much higher than when they first joined. Beautiful. I was surprised. I was thinking they would just maintain and nobody will say anything, right?
Yep.
But when they submitted what they want to do this year, I tell you, I was blown away. And I never had a private conversation to ask them, hey, actually, why? How come your goals are higher than last year?
Yeah.
Because most people, after a while, you when you manage leadership, you manage your management people, you submit what you can do lah. No need to give more, right? If you do more, you do more. That kind. But these guys are openly declaring they want to do a lot more.
Beautiful to hear that.
And I feel that it's not just my credit. It's the team, the culture, and the people that if you're surrounded by a group of people who believe in these things, your transition easier. On your own, tough.
I hear you.
Scared. That's scary.
For sure. If I can summarize whatever that Jeff has mentioned so far, right? It seems like he built this ecosystem because he needed it last time.
Yes.
And essentially right now, right, he's just helping people who used to be like him. Yeah. If I can make it layman term, so that the audience can listen to it. So now that we kind of, going to wrap up soon, right, I want to ask you one question. What's an exciting project or something that you're working on right now?
Oh, well, the most exciting thing right now for me is actually how we transited our agency into a business. And I feel that until and unless we stop seeing ourselves as agency, we will always be stuck, in terms of our ability to project a true area of true service to our clients. And so we transited out. There was a time where during the pandemic, we felt it's important that we be very congruent with the fact that we want to be known as a practitioner, a professional practitioner who specializes in this field of work. And we are running it as a business. We're not running it to chase after numbers. We want to chase after clients and their testimonies. To us, that is the biggest thing. It's bigger than the trips, the awards, the round table, and whatever that has been so-called thrown at the advisors who come to our industry.
Yep.
To have the endorsement of our clients, to see them taking pictures with their families around the things that we have done for them, and to let them open up, to allow them to open up, to see them open up their communities to you and introducing you openly to their friends that this is my trusted person and all that kind of thing is probably one of the best reward for me personally. So one of my biggest project to come to that point where to answer your question is this, that you know how our business always ends at 31st December
Yep.
on a high, and then 1st of January start with zero all over again. And after a while, year after year, advisors feel sometimes like, is like, how am I going to keep up with it?
Correct.
If last year was a good year, even worse. How am I going to
Live up to that,
live
or
up to that
recreate that?
expectation and all that kind of thing?
Correct.
And then you realize that, wow, every year is a thing that you have to spin over and over and over again. And so when I was looking at our and I feel as I was looking at this issue, I realized that the problem that we need to solve is at our business model area. What's our business model? Is it just selling, meeting people as many as possible and closing as many as possible? If that's what most people are doing, that's why they feel that way. January the 1st, they feel, wow, they hope that it wouldn't come so fast, but when it came, they have no choice, right?
True.
And then they were just hoping that they will crank up or crank down whatever, or move on to move forward to what they want to do. So I realized that I thought to myself, I says, how then do we build a business model that business gets easier and easier? I mean, obviously, we are not thinking about struggling with the same struggle that when we first joined with the business, right?
Yep.
How do I ensure that my business gathers momentum, right? So that even if I'm traveling, the business is still spinning like a wheel.
Flywheel that you mentioned.
Flywheel, yes. That you gather momentum, and now you let the momentum work for you. Our problem is that the way we run our business model is tomorrow you go for holiday,
Stop.
business stops.
Yep.
Right? And this is like, you're opening a HDB store, right? You open up, then when you go holiday, you close, and business stops.
True.
But my question right now is, how do you build a business so that the flywheel is still moving while you're away? Business is still flowing. How do you do that? Now, this is what we're talking about. If there's any value to a business, it is this, the momentum. When I buy a business, what am I buying? Oh, past success record? No. I want to see the current system, the mechanism that has been set in place, and the ones that is still moving, right? The moving pieces that is currently still moving, that is bringing in the revenue. And I honestly tell you, not a lot of financial person thinks like that lah.
Agree. A lot of them think like self-employed, not a business owner.
Yeah, I do what I can as long as I can, and then see what's the next plan, and maybe there's a distraction, I'll see, that kind of a thing, and then they try to go into business, and then after, unfortunately the pandemic kind of affect a lot of people, and then when that happens, they decide, I come back again. But now when they come back, no passion already.
Yep. Doing for the sake of doing it.
No passion. And then, everything needs to be cranked up and all that. Oh, I tell you, it's tough.
Yep.
It's tough.
So one last question, right?
Yes.
So you mentioned that this purpose of yours, I really can believe, I truly believe, that's why I support you, right? By helping your guys and everything.
Yeah.
This mission, this obsession of yours, right?
Yeah.
Definitely need manpower, definitely need a team of people who truly believe in your mission as well.
Yeah.
Share with the audience, right? Who exactly are you looking for if you need such, team to champion this mission? Who are you looking for exactly?
Yeah. I think the after knowing you and hearing all the stuff and all that, it became clearer and clearer. And as I was recounting all the years of my journey as an agency leader, I saw the high and the low points. And, I saw, when I still remember there was a particular year that I won all the awards, every single one of them. You ask me how I feel? Lousy. Very lousy. Because the people there not celebrating with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like you're there, you took all the awards. It's a lousy feeling. And I think the organizer didn't do a proper job lah. You got to go up and down many times, just one time and finish it. And then, let the party go on.
Yeah.
But they didn't manage it. So I went up and down, collect the same thing. After a while, people are not clapping already. Right or not?
Yeah.
So I feel, no lah. It is to create an environment where we all win, not just one person win. So yeah, the people that we resonate. So I say all that to say this. The problem has always been misfit. Has always been. I realize that in building agencies and teams and all that, it's not just about head. It's not about head count and all that. It's about values. It is, contract will bring you together, but your value is the one that will help you build together. Right?
Yep.
Stick together. And so having gone through that journey of the high and the lows, to me right now, fit is the most important issues. And I can share with you easily 80 or even 90% of the people who feel like struggling and all that kind of thing. Some of them, majority of them, could be an issue of misfit. It could be because they really wanted to serve. They really wanted to do good to the people around them. But then the environment and where they were was not encouraging it. There's a misalignment in values. And then suddenly they feel isolated, and then their growth is being stifled, and then they are not financially compensated properly for those things that they believed in, and after a while they kind of like feel like an odd one out lah.
Yeah.
And then agency will always look at them like, these are the
rejects.
Yeah lah. But actually, they are the gems, They are the gems.
Yeah.
Just that wrong place, wrong time.
Agree.
So when you're in a place where there's a business mechanism that is helping you to build that relationship with your clients so that your clients would want to come back to you exclusively. And, and it goes beyond just about... or the client, I just want to serve my clients. It goes beyond that. I mean, if I'm going to be very honest.
Go ahead.
Because people will do what is most convenient for them. And if you don't build a reason for the client to want to work with you exclusively, it is wrong to expect that they want to work with you exclusively because that environment that they are in does not promote that.
True.
So here we have agents who are trying their best to serve their clients and hope their clients will stick with them for life. But then they went to the bank, they buy from the bank, and then someone else come here and there and all that kind of thing. And after you're confused, right?
Yep.
Hey, I thought that we are building this together and all that kind of thing. And they're saying, why would my client want to buy from someone else? It's because you didn't tell them. You don't have the narratives to want to grow this relationship in the direction that you want to go. Right?
Yep.
And so that's why we struggle. We don't have a basis, a foundation, and the reason and the story to say why working with me exclusively is to your benefit. And this is where most people struggle. And, I would love to share, but, if those details have to be appreciated firsthand.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And where do those, if those advisors really keen to find out more about your mission, where can they reach you at?
When you say meet me, you're talking about...
Like online, where can they find you online to find out more?
You can find me at highlife.sg.
Highlife.sg. Right,
We
they
have
can
a
drop
website.
you an email.
Yeah, they can drop me an email. Yeah, I think that's probably... That's what they can do. But I think personally, I felt like today in the session, I really wanted to speak to the people who are struggling. And I think... If I may use an illustration.
Go ahead.
Yeah. If today I have a $1,000 note, right? I mean, I'll ask a question, who wants this? Everybody wants it. If today I crush that $1,000 note, and it's crushed, right? I says, who wants it? Everybody wants it. Today, if I throw that, I spit on it, $1,000 note, and I say, who wants it? Everybody still wants it. I throw it on the ground, I step on it. And then I take it out and I ask, who wants it? Everybody still wants it. So my point here is this. When you are good and you have true value, your value does not depend on your external validation. As much as there's good, But when you have a true estimation of your real value as a person, because you want and you care enough about what's good for the other party, I say you're a gem. Yeah, I say you're a gem. You're just waiting to be discovered. You're just waiting to be discovered. So don't let yourself down by staying that way, because if your agency or your environment, your culture doesn't celebrate you, you should move on. And I'm not saying to join me. There are other good ones as well. But you should go to a place where you are celebrated.
Thank you for sharing that. Allow me to do a summary of everything that Jeff has generously shared with us throughout this entire session. So if you have, heard his entire story so far, right, listen to this closely. It's a wrap up and summary. For Jeff, right, he joined really, really at a young age. And that's where whatever the previous, mentorship gave him, hard selling, just follow the scripts. He just did that. He felt mismatched, misaligned. That's where he felt like a misfit, a reject. And he didn't feel contented or really happy with whatever he's having in his life. Instead, he felt probably empty, purposeless. And that's what led to the event where this gentleman gave him an epiphany, a light bulb. What if I can be a professional? What if people respect me and I get really, really convicted about the work that I do? And that led to him exploring this idea of estate planning. With the wrong intention in place, even there's the right tool, that led to no results. And that's why he was very disheartened. And with that in mind, when he had his first recruit, that's where everything changed. He genuinely played out the strength of that tool. Yeah. That's where his heart of service, had a very big epiphany for him. Wow, when I serve, I get huge rewards. It makes sense. And that's where he decided that, I want to double down in that. He discovered the ecosystems in place as well, whereby legality of things, will writing, financial planning, everything is working in silo. And it's a huge issue because it does not benefit the end consumer. Individually, these parties benefited from it, but the end consumer did not. And that's where he dedicated the next few years of his life to solving this problem. It's a big mission for him. And now he's looking for more people to champion this mission together with him. And I'm very grateful to be part of that mission. Once again, thank you for being on this podcast, Jeff.
Thank you so much.
You. Yeah, so if you like this podcast, I would really appreciate if you can like, share, subscribe, and share with other colleagues or financial advisors who can really benefit from Jeff's wisdom. With that being said, we come to the end of the podcast.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.